Timestamp February 10th, 2026. A little bit after 5 a.m. It's currently 42 degrees here in Pasco County. Pups just came in from a walk, even though Scrappy sees me on this and is like, oh, we're going out. Hi, Janice. Come on, man, I gotta walk. Thank you. Oh, good, yeah. That's exactly where you're not supposed to be, Kaiser. Oh, what are we drinking out of today? Just made coffee. Here, sir. Hi, everybody. Move along. We are incredibly low on creamer. I just put in a Walmart order. Pix is supposed to be coming over today. In between medical appointments, she's got an early medical appointment. Coming over, dropping off some stuff. We're gonna run around and do some errands. Got 3 packages to drop off for eBay. Just a, good problem to have. Got eggs chilling right now. Boiled some eggs. Good second life for these plastic coffee containers. Pulling eggs out, fill it with ice, and then a little bit of water. Put the eggs in there, and does that whole shell shock thing. Want to make sure there's enough water in there so that the incredibly hot egg that you're pulling out of the pot isn't like resting against the plastic, but actually is settling within, water. I haven't tested that. I didn't learn that the hard way per se. It's just a hunch. Boiling egg resting against plastic may not be good. I've dealt with plastics enough to know that that might end poorly. One of many to-do lists. Oh. Been up for a couple hours. Went to bed about 7 p.m. Got up at like 2 a.m. Doctor Who Roku is back on track. It was on stuck on Tom Baker mode. I went to bed. Colin Baker was on Mark of the Ronnie, and I woke up to John Pertwee, Frontier in Space. So we went from being stuck on 4 to 6, and then immediately to 3. Kaiser. I'm going to humor you in that little perch there because you're an old man. But you start roaming the counters and knocking things on the ground, we're going to have an issue. And it's strange that you shrank back because you know exactly what I'm telling you. They know English much better than they pretend. Don't you? You're an old man and you're Lord your son, so I'm cutting you a little bit of slack. Do not push it. It's Tiny's cat. He is 14 years of knows better. You know it is. Oh! Do a little Sam, why not? Okay, that's actually a pretty good combination. It's the Kawaii Vanilla Macadamia with coconut cream creamer. Not a bad combination. I normally do sweet Italian creamer. I love it. French vanilla, also good. But we're down to coconut cream and hazelnut. I don't really care for hazelnut. I just don't. So. The coconut cream works in certain things, but not in others. I hadn't tried that combination. That works. That works okay. But yeah, when Pix gets here, we're gonna drop off some eBay. Probably run by, grab some groceries, which is not a new word, by the way. If you're a normal person. You could have been anything with the gigantic platinum spoon that you had wedged up. You could have been anything. And when I say that, I mean like force for good. Instead of the self-serving, well, the next words will probably get me banned from YouTube, so. So, I showed you the Space Trooper that I got the other day. I did some digging around eBay, and apparently they've done two different versions of this. There's the standard release, which is, I think, what this is, and then there's a Toys R Us exclusive one, which slightly different. Obviously the same configuration, more or less, but some slight differences here and there. And I have 3 on the way, I think. I was getting droopy, and there was an auction for 3 of them loose. Looked like 2 of them had their like backpack things, like jetpacks. It looks like on the Toys R Us ones they actually come off. These are more like in there kind of thing. The bid was like $7. I put in. They wanted $5 shipping. It's 3 loose figures, but that are going for typically $15 to $30 each, because I did my homework. And somebody had a lot of 3 of them up. Current bidding was $7, $5 shipping on it. I put in a bid for $15, which catapulted me to the front with like a bid of $11. There's like 2 hours left on the auction. And I'm like, I'm not staying up for the end of this. If I win it, I win it. If I don't, I don't. Do I want to win it? Yeah, but I'm not going to spend 2 hours waiting. Is somebody going to bid? Is somebody going to bid? You know, and I've done that before. But I'm not that invested, you know. I woke up expecting to see the bid at like, you know, you didn't win. It closed at, you know, $34 or $46.95 or something like that. I won with like $11.50. I was just like, cool. So I have I really wasn't expecting that. I was expecting that I was probably just going to annoy some other bidders by making the price go up before I went to bed. You know, that whole, you buy a raffle ticket, you know, it's $2, you know, that kind of thing. So I've got 3 of the toys. I think it's the Toys R Us exclusive one's coming. And I did pick up another one of the, what I think is the standard release for, I think, like $10 total. It was really cheap. It was like $5 or $6 and then $5 shipping. So maybe like 11 or $12 total. So I've got, I think, one more of that, and then 3 of the Toys R Us ones on the way. When they get here, I'll do a comparison side by side. But yeah, I was not expecting that. I'm okay with it. I'm thrilled because I paid $16, $17, and honestly, that should have been 40, 50. Because for the most part, they're going for just under or just over $20 each. Somewhere in there. So, cool. Nobody else outbid me? Really? Really? I mean, I padded the bid to 15 and I got it for $11.50, but I'm surprised somebody didn't, like, $14, $16. Ah, now I'm winning, Was not expecting that. That was a nice thing to wake up to in the morning. I got it. Were you expecting it? No. Yeah. Been bringing in more stuff from the Lanai. I've been banker boxing it. I've got a pretty good system going on. We're going through some stuff out there, clearing some areas. It's still slow going, even the one brick philosophy. This is a mountain. So 1 brick, you take a step back and you can't tell that anything got done. We know that it did. Because that's the thing. There is a huge amount of debris here, but it is a finite amount of debris. So anytime you go through a box or 6 boxes or 10 boxes, that's, it's not 10 over the infinity symbol, it's 10 over, 100,000 or what have you. I don't even know. That'd be a terrifying thing to count. I don't have the energy to do that. But, I mean, you take my meaning. Eventually that number, the number of debris does go down. Incredible amount of silliness here. But yeah, I've got a higher ticket item that I'm dropping off to the post office. I've got a pair of the AD&D figures that I got in. Another one of the Man-at-Arms. Steadfast, Stalwart. One of those guys sold. And a Doctor Who figure. So, cool. Yeah, that's the good stuff. Yeah. And on a completely dorky side of things, because I know that is anything? There's Queenie having a sneezing fit. I know that Alex frequently doesn't have or can't find his colder wear, and Tiny loves hoodies, so either way it's kind of a win. And I wanted to get a more, hopefully an easier to work with hoodie, frankly. So there was a kind of a clearancey thing on Amazon. I think it was Gildan was doing some sales on their hoodies. So because I am that dork, just from a solidarity standpoint, in case we're out and about and we want to show solidarity as a family, because we are kind of that kind of clan. I picked up some patches that I'm going to have my girl put on the hoodies. Yep. Because I am that dork. And I'm going to get one for, I got one for everybody here. I'm going to do one for Pix too. her hoodie's on order. It hasn't come in yet, but both of my pups have their hoodies and I have mine, so I'm gonna give Pix some homework. She'll love it. No, she won't. She's gonna roll her eyes at me. But they're just plain hoodies, and I want to dress them up somehow and show a little family solidarity too. So you're gonna humor me. Actually, they'll think it's cool because the whole family's fans anyway. But yeah, I got they didn't have one that was like tactical or security or something like that. So I went ahead with Command because, you know, these are from Star Trek The Motion Picture. It's their color scheme. But Command was the white. Silver is Science. That's going to be for Alex. The yellow is Engineering, which, with Tiny's love for robotics and whatnot, that's an easy sell. And then Medical for my girl. And we can be subtle dorks together with our hoodies. And be a family unit. But also with a difference, you know. My hoodie's black, but I got a dark red hoodie for Alex and a dark blue hoodie for Tiny. Had to think about that. And I've got a gray one on order for my girl. Not quite the rainbow, but you know. For when you want to stay warm and nerd out subtly. Because it's just a smaller patch, so it won't be like blaring icon, you know. If you see it, you see it. And it's not Space Force. I approve the idea of Space Force, but we're not there yet. Unless there's stuff going on that you're not telling us. Which I have a hard time believing because you can't keep your mouth shut. Part of that's the dementia. I've seen that. My dad will say all kinds of interesting and inappropriate things at inappropriate times. If you've had a loved one with dementia, you know what I'm talking about. Sitting at dinner one time, probably a year and a half ago, because Mom wasn't in the hospital and she was alive. And Dad just started talking about one of the horrible things that he witnessed in Vietnam. Something that had happened to some of our soldiers. Just started in colorful detail. Dessert? You know. Hey Pop, maybe it's the wrong forum for that. Well, they need to know. That was actually his response. They need to know. It's like, number one, the family's heard this story a few times, and number two, no one here actually needs to know that while they're eating pork chops. They just don't. They don't. That's not a requisite. You don't have to tell that story for everyone to get dessert. Desserts, it's established. There will be dessert. It's okay. And again, if you've been in this situation, you may have similar experiences. It's entertaining. water in the bucket. I can feel the outside, it's still chilled. There is no longer any ice. So I think that is mission accomplished. I got a new debris field behind me. As was ordered and carried out. Hodgepodge boxes, some large glassware, shocking, and a whole lot of plastic shopping bags. No idea what's waiting for me there, but I'm certain it'll be exciting. It's about a quarter of a brick, you know. I'll do another 3 or 4 or 6 of those today. I'll knock that one out. I think Tiny went down. So I'll have some banker boxes ready to go for when Tiny gets up. Because I'm going to be working on my stuff. We're getting into a flow. I gotta find some things that Alex can do. The autism makes it a little tricky to give him instructions. It's just, there has to be a system in place and there can be spinning, but he's here, he's supposed to be helping, and I'm sure there are some things that I can come up with, not just busy work, you know, but things that actually do need to get done that he can handle, that he can, and he's smart, don't get me wrong, but autism is a funny monkey to deal with. Can handle really complex stuff, and then some simple stuff makes his head explode. Weirdest thing. And I guarantee it was not caused by Tylenol. I guarantee it. It's almost as if they've done studies on this. There was a paper that was published by a guy who did not do his homework, and that paper was debunked and debunked again and debunked some more. But the anti-vaxxers and whatnot have jumped all over that and have sworn that it is actually science when it is junk science. You can look it up online. But then, oh, and JFK Jr. not coming back. Just be clear. He's dead. Plane crash. It happened. He's gone. Unless the aliens saved him last minute. Which, ooh, I shouldn't give Q any ideas. It was shot down by Italian space lasers. I don't know. Some of the stuff that I see online, it's like, guys, I know I believe in some stuff that you guys might think is a little weird, but some of this stuff, I should call somebody for you, right? Can I see your keys real quick? Is that your Honda? Yeah. Okay. Why don't you have a seat? Just have a seat. It's cool. I got this. But yeah, I need to do some dishes, some laundry, because, you know, every day. The brick behind me. Got Wally coming in about 2 hours. Put that away. One brick, baby, one brick. Pixie's making progress at George. Also healing from surgery, so she's trying to be careful what she does. Talked to her for like an hour and a half on the phone yesterday. Feel like a teenager. No, don't hang up, you know. She's not here, you know. Sucks. Working on getting her here, that's part of what we're doing, Tiny and me. Create the room to be able to move, you know, things to get her here. Very, very long-term, multi-stage project. With, you know, notable achievements along the way. You know, this room has been cleared out, you know, this person can now move in, you know. There are some moments that are very easy to track on the ticker, but so many side quests, my God. So many side quests. It's a terrifying sandbox. Mm-hmm. But we're getting there. Yep. Health check. Woke up congested. Still a little overall okay. I can draw a deep breath. I definitely have anxiety because I still expecting that phone call, you know. But as I've stated repeatedly, I'll be expecting that phone call until I get that phone call, and then I'll be off in a new direction of what one might call negative emotions, because that'll mean that my dad is dead too, you know. But I know that that phone call is coming. Where he is, not geographically, but from a health, physical standpoint. You know, he's maybe not as drastic a time bomb as my mom's health was, but the dementia makes him quite a wild card. You know, I don't know if I'm going to get a call from the facility saying, yeah, somehow he got outside and wandered into traffic. Because, real possible. You know, my mom wouldn't have been able to take 10 steps without being out of breath and collapsing on the floor, which, that's not a great visual either, but it's at least, you know, it's honest. But my dad doesn't even know where he is most of the time. You know, the last time we talked to him, he was swearing that he's an American citizen and that they can't hold him like this, you know. And he asked something about if we had talked to the embassy or the consulate or something like that, and it was like, you think you're a POW or something? What's going on? You're not, that's not what's happening here. This isn't Leavenworth. You know, what's going on with your brain? Which we didn't actually ask him that. We're just thinking it really loudly. So we know what's going on with his brain. You know, there's at least 5 different holes in his brain. True story. Caused from various strokes and other things, and it's malfunctioning a lot. So. And if you care about somebody, it's pretty hard to watch. Yeah. But yeah, that makes this pretty hard to watch for me. One of the agents at DCF, a year and change ago, one of them was incredible. I think I've called her Holly on here. Incredible. Incredible, incredible. But her boss was like, well, it's very clear that you're not close to your dad. And it's like, I was closer to my mom. I really like the way you're judging the situation. But you're almost making it seem like I don't care about my dad. And she was like, well, I mean, you're very standoffish. And I said, yeah, because he's threatened me before, and I know my dad, and I know that he has, within 3 steps, at least some kind of weapon of opportunity. Because he trained me to do that. And even with his brain in a broken condition that it is, if he has an anger moment or decides that I broke in and stole the Ark of the Covenant that he's been hiding in the garage, I'm going to get a machete upside my head. So don't take it as a lack of love. I know who we're dealing with and you don't. There's a big difference there. You want to get up all up in his business and, like go for a cuddle or something, you go ahead. But if he wants to snap your neck, he will. I'm standoffish out of caution. He's the one that trained me how to fight. And I know that he didn't teach me everything. Not lack of love, wanting to stay alive. Because I've seen the creature inside. Well, that just sounds very callous. Have you never met an old vet with PTSD and dementia? I mean, this is my first time, but I learn quick. This woman's been doing this for like 20 years. Like, you're underestimating the situation drastically. I mean, I did get vindication in that just about every other court-appointed muckety-muck that examined my dad was like, yeah, no, he could be dangerous. This man could be very dangerous. He has the means and the thought pattern to where this could be a dangerous situation. He needs to be contained. I've seen this before, that kind of thing. This could end in violence to himself, to others. So reading those reports, I'm like, okay, so I'm not crazy exactly. I am gauging this correctly. So I've got professionals with degrees that are looking at this and saying the same things that I've been saying. Okay, I feel a little better about that. I got this other person making me think that, suddenly I'm the uncaring son. It's like that. I don't think that's accurate. Somebody says something and you're like, I know that's not true, but as weeks go by, you're like, wait, do they see something that I don't? Am I the villain here? Am I the, what is that Reddit thread? Am I the asshole? You start questioning that. I didn't jump on Reddit and do that, but I did have that thought of, this is exactly the moment when I would go on that thread and go, okay, so Father 84, me, am I the asshole here? Or am I trying to, save the cashier at Publix's life because he's going to walk in there and there's going to be an ice cream situation, or she's going to give him an ugly look and he's going to pull out his little silver pistol and shoot her in the head, because he could. It still sucks. A lot. One brick. Trying to keep things moving in the right directions. for everybody. But knowing full well that I'll be getting that phone call. And there's not a damn thing I can do about it. So, I'm going to go ahead and call it here. I'm going to get back to work. Yeah. Do some dishes. I'm going to go through some debris. Some debris. If you had told me 10 years ago if you had told me 10 years ago, I would have said, I'm running my hobby shop. Things are okay. What are you talking about? My parents, they're fine. I won't have to do that. We're doing Rocky Horror next year. This is good. Everything's okay. Weird the ways the path moves. You get reflective, you know. Anyway. I'm still not AI. Come on, this kind of perfection? No, AI can't achieve that. I'm marvelous. Yeah. But apparently I'm handling it really well, according to a couple of my friends. There are times I know that they're right, and there are times that I don't know about that. You know? I think it's probably true. Very Ten of Wands, you know? Very Ten of Wands. That's the ice maker in the freezer recouping from what I did for the eggs. Oh my God, the bin's empty. Work. Make more. Now. Anyway, I'm probably going to have a couple of those. That sounds like a pretty decent breakfast. A little smoked paprika on that. It's good stuff. And good for you. Very good for you. Egg. Oh, man. So much goodness in that. I'm really glad they're not $8 a dozen anymore. But let me tell you something. The orange guy had nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that. The price of everything else going really high? Yeah, he had a lot to do with that. Yeah. He surely did. Just, as a side note. Anyway, and some kind of electronic device of my dad's is chirping incessantly in the living room. I'm sure it's in a box in there somewhere. I'll figure it out. It's just one more malfunctioning device here. But that's going to make me nuts like a mosquito in the night. Yeah. So, yeah, it's a good combination. We've talked about this. Hug your parents. Hug your kids. Make it a great day.